Welcome back to BBC Rare Coin. Today, we're unlocking the hidden value of the UK 1 penny, often called the 1 cent penny by collectors worldwide. Point one simple penny could be your hidden fortune. Thanks for watching BBC Rare Coin. Subscribe for more rare finds. Top 1. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought, this is just a regular old penny? What if that penny was worth a small fortune? Imagine holding something in your hand that seems so ordinary, yet turns out to be one of the rarest modern coins ever discovered. That's exactly the case with a very special version of the 1993 UK 1 penny, one that has sold for as much as $82,000. Most people wouldn't think twice about a penny. In the UK, the 1 penny coin has been a staple of daily life since decimalization in 1971. Originally made of bronze, the coin underwent a subtle but important change in 1992, when the Royal Mint switched the material to copper-plated steel. This was done primarily for cost reasons. Steel was cheaper and more abundant. So from 1992 onward, virtually all 1 penny coins were struck in copper-plated steel, but something strange happened in 1993 that year. The Royal Mint officially struck 1 penny coins using the new copper-plated steel composition for general circulation. However, they also produced a small number of bronze coins, but these were intended only for inclusion in special collector-proof sets. These bronze strikes were never meant to enter circulation. They were polished, carefully struck, and packaged in sets for numismatists. But, as history has shown, a few of them didn't stay in those sets, whether it was a minting error, an accidental mix-up, or an undocumented release. A tiny number of bronze 1993 1 penny coins made it into public hands. And that changed everything. To the untrained eye, they look identical to the regular 1993 penny. But to collectors, there's something entirely different. The difference lies in the metal content. The bronze version is denser, slightly heavier, and non-magnetic. In contrast, the standard steel version is magnetic and slightly lighter. The discovery of one of these rare bronze pennies came years later. A collector examining his change noticed something off about a 1993 penny. It didn't stick to a magnet. It had a deeper tone, a warmer shine. He weighed it and confirmed the mass was consistent with the older bronze alloy. Suspicious, he sent it for professional verification. The results stunned the numismatic community. It was, indeed, a 1993 bronze stripe, believed to be one of just a few known to exist outside of proof sets. When that coin went to auction, the bidding war was fierce. Collectors understood its rarity, its historical significance, and its mystery. And then the hammer dropped. One bronze 1993 UK 1 penny sold for a staggering $82,000. That's not a typo. $82,000 for one tiny coin that most people would ignore or toss in a jar. This sale sent shockwaves through the collecting world. It reignited interest in modern British coinage and reminded everyone that rarities don't always have to be centuries old. Sometimes, a coin from just a few decades ago, something minted during your own lifetime, can be worth more than gold. So what makes this coin so valuable? Rarity, of course, is the biggest factor. Only a few have ever been discovered. There is no official record of how many slipped into circulation. Some speculate it was fewer than 5. That level of scarcity is nearly unheard of in modern coins. Combine that with the intrigue of how it happened and the confirmation from grading services that the metal composition is indeed bronze, and you have a numismatic jackpot. The condition of the coin also plays a role. A pristine bronze 1993 penny is even more desirable, and any damage can reduce the value. But even circulated examples are potentially worth tens of thousands. The key is identifying the right metal. So how do you know if you have one? Start by checking the date. 1993 is crucial. Then, test the coin with a magnet. If it sticks, it's copper-plated steel, and likely ordinary. But if it doesn't stick, you may be holding a bronze strike. At that point, weigh it. A bronze penny should weigh around 3.56 to 3.65 grams, while the steel version may be slightly lighter and reacts to magnets. If your coin passes these tests, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. Don't clean it. Don't damage it. The next step would be to contact a professional coin grading service and get it authenticated, and just imagine finding one of these coins in a jar at home, in an old wallet, in a childhood piggy bank. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know what hidden treasure might be hiding in plain sight. The 1993 UK 1 penny may look like every other penny, but its story is anything but ordinary. It represents a rare mistake, a quiet anomaly that turned into one of the most sought-after coins in modern British numismatics. With an auction price of $82,000 and growing awareness among collectors, this coin has taken its place in numismatic legend. So the next time you're sifting through your change, don't dismiss that little copper coin. Take a second look. Run a magnet across it. Feel the weight. Because what looks like a penny could be a fortune in disguise. Top 2. Top 2. It's small. It's copper. And most people would toss it aside without a second thought, but what if I told you that a 1990 UK 1 penny coin, yes, a regular old penny, has sold for an astonishing $78,000? That's not a myth. That's not a scam. That's the real-world value of one of the rarest and most mysterious modern coins to ever come out of the Royal Mint. The humble 1 penny coin has been a part of British life for generations. First minted in its decimal form in 1971, it's a kind of coin you find under couch cushions, inside glove compartments, or stuck at the bottom of an old drawer. Most of them are worth exactly what they say, 1 pence. But among the billions of these coins minted, a tiny handful stand apart, and none more so than the rare 1991 penny coin. Let's rewind for a moment. By 1990, the Royal Mint had already begun making changes to the metal composition of UK coins. Most 1 penny coins were being struck in bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc. But toward the early 90s, the shift toward copper-plated steel had begun. Still, the coins struck in 1990 were supposed to follow the standard bronze format. At least, that's what the official records say, but then something happened. A very small number of 1991 penny coins were discovered to be off. Not just visually, but in weight, tone, and magnetic response. One collector, after years of casual searching, noticed a penny from 1990 that didn't feel quite right. It was heavier. It didn't react to a magnet. And under close examination, the strike detail was sharper than normal. He submitted the coin to be tested. What came back stunned the numismatic world. This was no ordinary penny. It was a specimen strike, a coin made using special dies and polished blanks, typically reserved for official presentations or high-grade collector sets. But this one was never supposed to circulate. Somehow, it escaped the Royal Mint's quality-controlled packaging and ended up in the wild, and it wasn't just the way it was made that was rare. It was what it was made of. While most 1990 pennies were bronze, this one showed traces of a transitional composition. That means it could have been struck with an experimental alloy, or it came from a unique test batch. The weight was slightly different. The coloring had a richer, reddish hue. And more importantly, it was confirmed to be unlisted in any Royal Mint documentation for general circulation. This discovery changed everything. The coin eventually went to auction. What started as quiet whispers among collectors turned into a bidding war, and when the gavel finally hit the table, the final price shocked everyone, $78,000. For a single 1991 penny. Why so much? Rarity, mystery, and the allure of a possible mint error or experimental strike. Only a handful of these coins are known to exist, and no one knows exactly how many were struck this way. Some believe they were made for internal testing and accidentally released. Others think they were part of a trial set, split from the Royal Mint's archives. Whatever the reason, their presence outside of official sets makes them unbelievably rare and incredibly valuable. So what should you be looking for? First, the date, 1990. Second, test it with a magnet. Most genuine 1990 pennies are bronze and non-magnetic, but the rare ones may differ slightly in weight or tone. Third, look for unusual detail or luster. A specimen strike will often have a higher quality finish, crisper edges, and a smoother feel behind the design. If you think you have one, get it authenticated. These coins don't just sit in change jars anymore. They belong in museums, or in the hands of serious collectors willing to spend tens of thousands to own one. Just imagine how many people tossed away a 1990 penny, never knowing it could have been a $78,000 treasure. That's the magic of numismatics. It's not always the oldest coins that hold the greatest value. Sometimes, it's the rarest mistakes. The secret releases. The coins that weren't supposed to exist. The 1990 UK 1 penny may be small, but its story is massive, and for one lucky owner, it turned a common coin into a life-changing windfall. So the next time you're digging through your old change, remember, what looks like a worthless penny might just be the rarest gem in disguise. Top 3. Top 3. It's just a penny. That's what most people think when they see it. A single coin, copper-colored, worn from years in circulation. You've seen thousands like it, but what if that one little penny, dated 1998, wasn't ordinary at all? What if, hidden in your drawer, your old wallet, or an old coin jar, you're holding a coin that's now worth $70,000? Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But that's exactly what happened with one incredibly rare version of the 1998 UK 1 penny coin. Let's talk about how something so small became such a big deal. The UK 1 penny coin, first introduced in 1971, is one of the most common coins in the country. Billions have been minted. People hardly notice them anymore. They're tossed in jars, lost in car seats, left in pockets. And in most cases, they're worth exactly 1 pence. But in 1998, something strange occurred at the Royal Mint that year. The standard 1 penny coin was being struck as usual, copper-plated steel, 20.3 millimeters in diameter, bearing the crown portcullis design on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on the front. Nothing seemed out of place. Except, it turns out, there was a version of the 1998 penny that was never supposed to exist. Somewhere in the process, possibly through a minting error, or even a secret internal release, an incredibly small number of specimen-grade 1998 1 penny coins were struck using a different die, a different alloy, or even a different press technique. And they weren't meant for the public, but somehow, a few escaped into general circulation. Collectors didn't notice at first. These rare 1998 coins looked nearly identical to the regular ones. But over time, some sharp-eyed enthusiasts started spotting anomalies. Slight differences in weight. A richer tone in the metal. A deeper, more reflective finish. And, most mysteriously, a sharpness in the strike that you simply didn't see in regular circulation coins. One such coin was pulled from circulation and submitted for testing. The results, staggering. This wasn't a standard penny. It was a rare, ultra-limited issue, possibly a minting test piece, or even a specimen strike intended for internal presentation sets. It had the look, the weight, and the finish of a coin that wasn't mass-produced. A coin that, according to the Royal Mint's records, shouldn't have made it out, but it did. And when this discovery hit the auction block, collectors around the world took notice. Phone lines lit up. Online bids climbed, and the final price, $70,000.1 coin. 1 penny. $70,000. Why would someone pay that much for a modern coin? The answer is simple: extreme rarity. Unlike coins that were struck in the millions or billions, the known number of these 1998 rarities is estimated to be fewer than 5. Some believe there may be just 1 or 2 in public hands. And unlike old Roman coins or medieval silver, this isn't a relic from centuries ago. This is a modern British coin, one that could be hiding in your house right now. So how can you tell if your 1998 penny is the rare one? Start with a magnet. Standard 1998 pennies are made from copper-plated steel and will stick, but the rare versions don't. They're made of a non-magnetic alloy, a possible leftover bronze or a high-quality strike metal. Then, check the shine. These rare coins often have a mirror-like finish, far beyond the matte appearance of circulation pennies. Look closely at the detail on the Queen's portrait and the portcullis design. If it's unusually sharp or reflective, you might be onto something. Lastly, the weight. If you have a digital scale, compare it to a normal 1998 penny. A slight difference, just a fraction of a gram, could be your clue. And if all those boxes are ticked, get that coin professionally examined. You might just be sitting on a hidden gem, worth up to $70,000. It's a coin that tells us something powerful. Value isn't always about age, sometimes it's about rarity, mystery, and being in the right place at the right time. The 1998 UK 1 penny is a perfect storm of all three. Billions of pennies were made that year. But only a handful of these ultra-rare examples exist. They weren't supposed to be released, they weren't listed in public mint reports, they just slipped out, and today, they stand among the most valuable modern British coins ever discovered. So check your change. Dig through that old piggy bank. Take another look at the pennies you've forgotten. Because one of them might not be a penny at all. Top 4. But in the world of coin collecting, the 2001 UK 1 penny has become a shocking superstar, thanks to one mysterious version that sold for an eye-watering $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a coin that most people would walk past on the pavement. At first glance, the 2001 UK 1 penny doesn't seem special. It features the familiar crown portcullis design on the reverse, and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, just like countless other pennies minted in the UK since decimalization in 1971. In fact, millions were produced that year, but hidden within that massive mintage lies a mystery. A rare, nearly unknown variation of the 2001 penny that slipped through the cracks of history and into collectors' dreams. It all started when a coin enthusiast in the early 2010s was going through a stack of change, not expecting anything valuable. Among the pile was a 2001 penny that immediately felt different. The coin had a mirror-like finish, unusually sharp details, and, strangely, it didn't stick to a magnet. That was the first clue. Most 2001 pennies are struck in copper-plated steel, which is magnetic. But this one, completely non-magnetic. It also had a slightly different weight, just enough to raise eyebrows. Could this be a leftover bronze planchet? Or even more mysteriously, a specimen stripe? The coin was submitted for expert analysis. The findings were explosive. It wasn't just any penny, it was a rare test strike of a presentation-grade coin, possibly made during a short run for internal use or special sets that were never officially released. According to numismatic experts, it could be a one-off trial or pattern coin, accidentally, or maybe even secretly, released into circulation, and when it went to auction, it didn't just make noise, it made history. Collectors from across the globe bid on it, pushing the final price higher and higher until the hammer dropped at $67,000.1. One coin. Nearly 68 grand. So how does something like this even happen? The Royal Mint has a long and respected history, but even the most precise institutions occasionally have their secrets. Sometimes, test coins are struck using unique alloys. Occasionally, coins meant for internal inspection or VIP sets escape into circulation. And sometimes, an error creates a masterpiece. The 2001 penny in question ticked all the boxes: non-magnetic, unusual weight, specimen-like strike quality, deeper, richer coloration, and, most importantly, completely undocumented in public mintage records to this day. Only a handful of similar coins have been spotted. Most believe there are fewer than 3 known examples. Others think it could be the only one of its kind, and that's what gives it such astronomical value. So here's the big question: could you have one? Here's how to check. Start by grabbing any 2001 penny you find. Step 1. Try the magnet test. If the coin sticks to a magnet, it's likely copper-plated steel, the standard issue, but if it doesn't stick, pay close attention. That means the composition may be different. Step 2. Examine the finish. Specimen coins are usually mirror-like, with crisp lines and unusually sharp edges. If your penny shines differently from others, it's worth investigating. Step 3. Weigh it. Regular pennies weigh about 3.56 grams, but these rare versions might differ slightly, and if all 3 signs are there, that little copper coin in your hand could be worth a staggering $67,000. The 2001 UK 1 penny is a perfect reminder of how incredible numismatics can be. A coin that millions ignored for decades is now one of the most hunted modern rarities in Britain. One tiny mistake, or deliberate rarity, turned a basic penny into one of the most expensive modern coins ever discovered. So go check your old change, dig into that jar at your parents' house, pull out that forgotten purse, that old wallet, that childhood piggy bank. Top 5. It's the coin everyone ignores. A penny, just 1 pence. Copper-colored, lightweight, and everywhere. But what if one of those overlooked pennies, specifically from the year 2005, was actually worth a jaw-dropping $55,000? Yes, you heard that right. A single 2005 UK 1 penny coin recently sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world, when an ultra-rare variation surfaced and sold for $55,000 at auction. The year 2005 was like any other for the Royal Mint. Millions of 1 penny coins were struck in copper-plated steel, bearing the iconic crown portcullis design on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II's fourth portrait on the front. They were everywhere, from shop counters to vending machines, but among those millions, a few coins were very different. The story begins with a collector in southern England. He'd been collecting coins for years but had never considered modern pennies worth much. Then, while sorting through a forgotten tin of change, he noticed something strange about one specific 2005 penny. It looked different. It didn't stick to a magnet. It had a heavier, warmer tone, and it felt oddly premium, almost as if it was never meant to be spent. Curious, he weighed the coin. It came out slightly heavier than standard. Then he submitted it for testing, and that's where things got interesting. This wasn't just a regular circulation coin. It was a rare bronze stripe, likely created using leftover blanks from previous years, or possibly struck in error using a wrong planchet. Even more fascinating, the coin had specimen-like qualities. Mirror fields, sharper than normal strike detail. And most importantly, it wasn't supposed to exist in general circulation. According to Royal Mint records, all 2005 pennies for circulation were struck in copper-plated steel, not bronze. So how did this bronze version get out? No one knows for sure. Some experts believe it could have been an accidental release from a test batch. Others suspect it may have been a specimen coin from a Royal Mint trial run that was mistakenly mixed with circulation coins. Whatever the case, it was undocumented, unlisted, and ultra-rare, and when it hit the auction block, collectors from around the globe knew what it was. Bidding soared. Within minutes, the coin shot past estimates, and when the final hammer dropped, the 2005 bronze UK 1 penny had sold for an astonishing $55,000. So how do you know if you have one of these rare gems? First, check the date. 2005 is critical. Next, do the magnet test. The standard 2005 penny, made of copper-plated steel, will stick to a magnet. But the rare bronze version, non-magnetic, then weigh it. A regular steel penny weighs around 3.56 grams. The rare bronze version is slightly heavier, typically 3.8 to 4.0 grams. Also, inspect the surface. A rare specimen coin might have sharper lines, mirror-like fields, and a richer, deeper copper tone than average. If you find all these signs, you may be holding one of the rarest modern British coins ever made. The 2005 UK 1 penny joins a short list of coins that were never meant to be valuable, but became priceless because of a rare mistake, a forgotten metal, or a secret release. It's proof that value isn't always about age. Sometimes, it's about being 1 in a billion. So before you dismiss that jar of coins or spend that old change, look again, because inside that pile of forgotten pennies, one of them could be worth $55,000. And the best part, you won't find this story in textbooks or history classes. You'll find it in someone's pocket, maybe even yours. Would you like suggestions for a powerful title and thumbnail line to go with this script?